G'day folks. I couldn't resist this from Newsy. He claimed that under the Brumby government and the Bracks government in Victoria there was never any train delays or breakdowns. Right, and as a train crew member I just went, yeah, right. And having worked in the rail for many years, I just went, these are train systems. These are rail line systems. These aren't Tyco train sets. Well, here's an article from The Age. Train fails to meet time targets for 7th month. From a journalist by the name of Megan Levy and Clay Lucas, and the article appeared in The Age on the July 1st, 2010. Now, what you see there is that photo is an that's a tunnel, obviously, and these are train tracks, right? And frustrated rail commuters faced peak hour delays of up to 15 minutes in Melbourne's southeast this morning as new figures revealed train operator Metro had failed to meet punctuality targets for its 7th consecutive month. Trains on the Cranbourne and Pakenham lines ground to a halt at 8:10 a.m. after power was cut to the overhead wires between Westall and Clayton stations. Overhead, no power, no run. What else? Metro spokesman Chris Whitefield said the outage lasted only 8 minutes. However, it caused knock-on delays of up to 15 minutes for other services on the lines during peak hour. Two faulty trains at Frankston also caused delays up to 10 minutes on the Frankston line this morning, while Mr. Whitehead said at least 3 other trains were cancelled across the network. The morning delays followed a particularly bad day on network yesterday when a broken down train, now this is a broken down train, Newsy, forced hundreds of commuters to get off and walk up the city loop. Now, the government having gone to tender a 2008 telling bidders of Melbourne's $8 billion train contract that fines for poor performance would be capped at $1 million a month, is now looking at ways it can penalise Metro more after new figures show it had failed punctuality targets for its 7th month in a row. Connex, which ran fewer trains later than Metro in the final months of its contract, faced unlimited fines and paid $25 million in penalties in this last year. $25 million. So, accordingly to the government, that's $1 million a breakdown, a delay. Under Metro's contract with government, which is overseen by the same Department of Transport bureaucrat that brokered the Mikey contract, the operator is meant to run 88% of trains on time. But since replacing Connex, Metro has run so many late trains it is yet to meet its performance target. In June, Metro ran about 83% of trains within 5 minutes of their scheduled time, marginally better than 82.7%. And here's a bit of history. It's a long way from 1937 when Victorian Rail Commissioners told the now defunct Argus newspaper that 97% of trains ran within 2 minutes of their scheduled time. RMIT transport expert Paul Mee said the Argus report, combined with other documents from the 1920s, recorded similar levels of performance on Melbourne trains. Showed the government's privatised system did not work. We once had a system that operated in the world beating standards of efficiency and accountability, he said. Now, Everyone from the Department of Transport, Secretary down, sees his jobs as making excuses rather than fixing the problems. I wonder where I've heard that before. After Transport Minister Peter Batchelor's spokesman said Metro's performance was disappointing. Metro know they need to improve for passengers, spokesman Stephen Moynihan said. Under Metro's contract, while penalties are capped at $1 million a month, the government's public transport director, Hector McKenzie, can always take steps to fine the company more. The government is believed to be considering taking these steps, but did not answer questions about this last night. Commuters were forced to walk out of a city loop yesterday when a metro train broke down while travelling from Southern Cross to Flagstaff Station about 7:50 a.m. The Siemens train lost power 200 metres from Flagstaff. Well, usually when they lose the overhead, the train stops. And that's considered a train fault and a breakdown. About 200 passengers were stuck on board for 40 minutes before ticket inspectors and metro staff began helping them off the train. It took an hour before the last passenger reached Flagstaff Station. One Tim Marks told 3AW that passengers were helped out the driver's cabin door and walked single file along a narrow path to Flagstaff Station. One woman experienced claustrophobia and was treated by St John's ambulance workers at the station. The breakdown caused delays during the morning peak before it was cleared just after 10 a.m. A tram that broke down on a level crossing at Glen Huntly Station also blocked trains yesterday morning from about 6:45 a.m. It had to be pushed out of the way by a recovery vehicle and the crossing was cleared by 7:30. Well, News, you made a broad sweeping statement about trains not breaking down during the Labor government years. Here's a news article from The Age that contradicts that statement. Now, if you go through a Google and search train delays for various reasons in Victoria, you will find rail networks, not only just in Victoria but also in other parts of the country and across the world, experience train delays, train breakdowns and so forth. But you made a broad sweeping statement. As a train crew member, I just sat there and I nearly fell off my chair laughing at your statement. Because as a train crew member, I know that breakdowns occur whenever you least expect them, especially mechanical breakdowns of rolling stock. And if they're not functioning properly or they've been not maintained properly, guess what, mate? It'll happen more often. You know, mate, you should make broad sweeping statements. You should know better than with somebody like me. Anyway, mate, I just thought you needed to know that. And another reason why you have massive train delays in Victoria, and I was kind of aware of it, but you have multiple areas of trains in conflict. You not only have V line, but you have Metro line, and prior to that Connex. And most of your train delays are occurring in your inner city, what we call a flatlining area, where you have not only Metro running trains that can be delayed, which then has a knock-on flow-on effect that affects V-line trains coming into the inner city of Melbourne. And until such time you're able to duplicate areas of track to separate the 2 or 3 different systems, you're going to continue to get train delays. And you will continue to do so. Sorry to tell you that, mate, but that's what happens. You can't run 2 trains over the same period of time, over the same period of track at the same time, without separation of those vehicles. And if one runs late, or is delayed for any reason, or you have a signal problem, or whatever the cause may be, that's going to flow on around your network. And guess what, mate? You're going to get train delays. Sad fact of life. Anyway, mate, bye.